You're here because, like me, somebody along the way told you that Sonos was the best soundbar that you could get. Likewise, the Sonos Arc is currently the top of the line Sonos soundbar out there. Hello, I'm Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Sonos Arc. There are a lot of reviews out there that are going to tell you, hey, these are the dimensions, which is 45 inches long, 4.5 inches deep, and 3.4 inches high, with 11 drivers and tweeters and bass boost and all that. I'm gonna focus on more of the practical and first time experience, as well as particulars that some of those others don't talk about. First being that the Sonos Arc is a Dolby Atmos soundbar. Myself, that TV behind it does not support it because you need to have the HDMI connection. This is currently set up with the optical, so I lose out on that Dolby Atmos sound. That is another aspect of this review that's slightly different than a lot of the others because I have a top quality soundbar, but I'm not yet getting the top quality performance out of it. I will say that the soundbar itself was definitely a step up from the speaker system in the TV behind it. Just get a soundbar, play Star Wars or something like that, you will hear the difference even if you don't have Dolby Atmos. One of the things that I normally don't do when doing a review of a product is actually an unboxing, but I wanted to film especially the Sonos Arc because it was delivered to my house. The box was damaged, but the Arc was perfectly fine, and part of that is due to the way that this is packaged, and I'm going to say it's very much like an Apple-esque packaging system for the Sonos Arc, so let's take a look at that real quick. It was a little banged up, and I'll be happy to say, inserting pictures of what the lid looks like on the inside of this and what we're looking at inside here, just to give you an idea if you have this shipped to you as opposed to actually picking it up in a store. So I kind of opened this up already to make sure that everything was okay, but this is the Arc itself, and it actually comes in a sealed, I'm gonna call it like velvety-ish covering here. And I'll scoot this down a little bit because I do not have a lot of room in my filming location, but the Arc actually comes nestled fairly well in this. And we're just gonna take and pull this out and put this behind the big box here so that you can see nice deep channel. So this is, your Arc sits in this, one on each side, and then has that nice lid which is sitting over there. So there's nothing under these right here, but in the middle here we have a box which includes our welcome, and just popping it open has our little quick start guide here. We have an included HDMI cable, which is nice, power adapter, and everything is packaged up nice and neatly in here. I will give Sonos credit because I was definitely concerned that my bar may have been damaged in transit because of the handling of my local carrier. We'll say that. But thankfully, the bar itself is okay. Like I said, it's kind of like in this giant shimmy, which I've been trying not to have to try and take this off, but I guess, you know, we'll have to. So we'll just do that, and this would be the first look at the giant Sonos bar and the back there. So there we go. That was an unboxing of the Sonos Arc to let you know that in transit you don't have to worry about this. Once you have your Sonos out of that very protective, very cool box, which I'll probably keep somewhere just to have in case I need to ever move this, you're gonna have a setup process. And unlike a lot of other soundbars, because the Sonos Arc is actually part of an ecosystem and is attached to a Sonos application on your smartphone, there's a little bit of extra setup that you have to do aside from just plug A into plug B and then start. So quick look at the setup process for the Sonos Arc from a total noob with a soundbar. Step one for setting up Sonos Arc is obviously take it out of the box and get it placed based on the very small manual that comes with it. After you get it situated, you are going to plug in the power and the cable to it. I will state that it does not come with an Ethernet cable, although it does have an Ethernet port on the back. So I do have my Asus Wi-Fi router over there, so I'll just snake a cable over so that the Arc doesn't have to operate via Wi-Fi. So right now it's in place. We're going to get everything plugged in next. My particular older TV there would not just accept a HDMI, so I'm actually going to use the optical adapter to plug it into my TV. The power supply is on the left, while the HDMI is on the right when facing. The power supply, while it might feel like you just place it in, you actually do need to kind of push it in there. So don't worry, it should feel like that. If you just leave it loosely draping, it won't work correctly. You'll know that you're ready to go when you see the green blinking light right there. And then you move on to step 2, which is downloading the app and creating a Sonos account. You can create a Sonos account online, or you can do it through the application. So here you can see I opened up the application, and without even going to add, it already is popping up with the Sonos Arc. So I'm going to select add. All right, so it wants me to turn on NFC, so we're gonna go to settings, and I'm momentarily going to turn on NFC. And then it's prompting me to go back to the Sonos app, and here, Sonos is pretty much setting itself up, it looks like. Touch your mobile device to the Sonos Arc to play. All right, so we're gonna walk the cell phone over here. That is an interesting setup process. So now it's adding Sonos Arc to my Sonos account or Sonos system. That makes it much easier than having to type in usernames and passwords. So I'll give them that. I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. And now it wants me to tell them where it is. So we've got some choices here. I'm going to say living room and continue. All right, so there is an update available. I did attach an Ethernet cable to it, so we're gonna say update. And this is letting us know that the update is in process. We've got the progress bar down here. And then if you wanted to, apparently it gives you some options that you can do while you're waiting for the download. So here it's set songs as alarms, swipe to skip tracks, group speakers. This is my first Sonos speaker, so I don't have any. Save favorites to my Sonos. And then personalize your listening, so you can connect multiple accounts to the Sonos bar. Turn on automatic updates, which I probably will do because like I said, it is attached to Ethernet, so it can update whenever it wants because it'll be plugged in all the time. And while I was talking, it finished. So we're going to select done. And then it's let's connect it to your TV. So we're going to select connect to TV. So it's saying connect to these ports. I do not have HDMI or HDMI Arc, so we're going to do can't find, and hopefully that means it will go to the optical drive. So I read through this. It says no eARC port, no Arc. So what it's letting you know is that you are going to not be able to fully use the Arc as intended because it cannot do Dolby Atmos, True HD, MAT, Dolby Digital Plus, Dolby Digital. These are not supported if you don't have eARC. So just know TV needs to support that. If you don't have it, you'll be in the same situation I am with needing the optical adapter, but that doesn't mean I'm not future-proofing the soundbar a little bit. So we're going to select that, and we are going to say, I don't have Arc right there. And it says to plug in the optical, which I've already done. We're going to select continue, and it's going to check the connection. There you go. It says it has checked it. Go to TV settings to disable the built-in speakers. So 1 second while we do that. So in my case, for my TV, it might be a little tricky to see right there because of the color balance, but I'm in my turn off the TV speakers. So we're going to select off, which means no sound will come through the TV speakers anymore. And then we're going to bring our app back into focus. And then TV speakers are disabled. Set your TV remote to use with Sonos Arc. We're going to select continue. Point your TV remote at the Sonos and press volume plus. We can now adjust the TV volume using the remote. Sonos Arc is now connected to your TV. Done. So there we go, living room TV. And that was the setup for the Sonos Arc. Even with all the other aspects of setting up that I wasn't expecting with something like this, it was reasonably simple compared to some other products that I have set up. I will say that that light indicator that you saw right there has an ambient light sensor, so depending on the amount of light in your room, it will dim or brighten that light so that it's not in the way, because obviously it's going to be sitting right in front of the TV set. The top of the Sonos has capacitive touch points for volume up, volume down, play, pause, and then all the way on the right, if you set up a voice assistant, which you can for Google or Amazon, you can mute or unmute that. And I will say the play pause, if you double tap, will play the last piece of audio that you have connected to the Sonos bar, because you have radio stations, whether they're Pandora, Spotify, or something like that, it will remember the last thing that you played. So double tapping and you can just jump back into that station. But all of those functionalities that I'm talking about are through the Sonos app. I will admit the application on Android for Sonos is not as developed as it is for iOS, because during the setup process you'll notice that it didn't have me waving my phone around like you've seen in so many other reviews. They're all on Apple, there's no fine tuning, it's the app, it's a soundbar, you get some quality changes but not a lot. Let's take a look at the Sonos app as it pertains to the Sonos bar, especially if this is your first time dealing with the Sonos application. This is the Sonos application for the Sonos Arc. What we're looking at here is right here on our bottom, we have several different selections for the Sonos app. Right now we're on the first one right here, which is the star, which is the My Sonos page. This My Sonos page will show you recently played and then where you pulled it from. So this is a Pandora station, this is an Amazon station, here's another Pandora station. You also have the ability to see Sonos Radio or discover Sonos Radio. So if we were to kind of come through here and look very quickly and select 80s flash, here you can see it's actually loading it on, and then down here it's got the now playing area. So my Sonos bar downstairs is now freaking my cats out and playing music when I'm not around. You can pause or start again your music. We're just gonna pause that for now, and then we're gonna come down because that was our Sonos Radio Discover Sonos Radio, and then trending now on Sonos Radio. Sonos does have their own premium radio station that you can pay for. Most of this is actually pulling from their free services. Over here you have your edit button, so if there's something that you want to remove, you can do so by either clicking the little button next to it. If you have something in your recently played that you don't want there anymore, simply click it and it will go away, and then select done, and then you're back to your My Sonos area. Over here you have notifications, so here it's just kind of letting you know something that it wants you to pay attention to. For me, it's around the holiday season, it's trying to get me to buy more stuff. Moving along, we've got our browse selection. So right here you could see Sonos Radio. Selecting that will bring you into Sonos Radio, which looks a lot like the Sonos area that we're at before. If you attach your Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Plex, Pocket Cast, there's a plethora of things that you can actually attach to this area. My one complaint about this area is actually the Plex, which I thought would actually pull from my Plex media server, and it does not. It actually just kind of pulls from podcast related stuff, so not the best in my opinion. You also have the ability to pull from TV on this device and add services if you want. Selecting add services will pull up all the services that you can add from, and I will admit there is a lot of services. So any of these you can set up, and hypothetically if I were to come to iHeartRadio and select this particular radio station, right now it is playing live on my Sonos downstairs. We'll let that go for a little bit because we're gonna pop over to this, which is system. Right now it is showing living room, which is my Sonos Arc. It's the only Sonos soundbar I have. Right now you can see it's actually playing what's on here. But if I were to stop this, you'll see that kind of trickles down. I can come up here and then select living room or deselect it. If you had other Sonos items, they would show up here. Select done. If you had something playing on your TV set, you could set it for night mode or enhanced vocals, which will allow you to up the sound of people talking over explosions and everything, or the night mode, which will compress the actual audio sound that you're getting. Moving along to the bottom here, we have search. So you could search for artist, song, album, playlist, genre. They will search for just about anything. So if we do a quick search, and I will do quick search for Weird Al. So it's pulling from specific Sonos stations or Pandora, because those are the things that I have loaded on here. And here you see it pulls them all into this stations area after I did the search. And we've got some iHeartRadio playlists. So this area is going to be for your searching. Last but not least, for your Sonos app is over here, which is actually the settings area. Selecting the settings area, we'll have at the top the account that's associated with it, so that's kind of out of the way right now. We've got our system, which will allow us to add a new product. We went through this during the setup process. You can select add product and then your particular Sonos speaker. About my system, here it will tell you all the information that we need to know about my particular Sonos Arc. You've got AirPlay, you've got alarm settings, so if you want to set an alarm for your particular Sonos speaker, you could. Audio compression, likewise, you can select how you want your speaker to handle sound. Since I have it wired and at home I have it uncompressed, I want to get all the sound that I can from it. And then date and time, you can have selections there. I do not have a group because, well, my only speaker at the moment. Media server, that's going to give you some specifics for setting up servers. If you don't know that, just stay out of there. Music library, again, this is going to pull in a bunch of information from all of your libraries. So if you have something you want it indexed, it'll set it up regularly to index. Network, well, just like it sounds, that's network information, whether you have your particular speaker connected wirelessly or wired. Parental controls, yes, there are parental controls, so you can filter for explicit song lyrics. So if you have a station that has both versions, it will pull the non-explicit one. And then services that filter content currently that I have associated with this is Amazon Music. Coming back, we have the option for system update. Mine automatically checks, but you can check for an update manually, or you can set a scheduled update, or by default it is overnight, so it doesn't interfere with you actually using it. And then last is transfer ownership of system if you wanted to give your soundbar to somebody else. Now that was all under system. So we have services and voice assistant. So right now I have my Alexa connected to this, and I'll show you actually what that looks like to connect one of these services to the Sonos Arc here. This will be how to add a voice assistant to your Sonos bar. We're going to come down to settings, services. We will then add a voice service. In my case, I'm going to add Amazon Alexa, select add to Sonos, and then it asks which one. In my case, I only have one, so I will select living room and add Amazon. It will now ask me to sign in to my Amazon account and should just bring me over. Yep, there we go. Get started, allow, and this is all because I already had my Amazon Alexa connected. And there you can see it popped up that it's added. You might not have heard, because I'm using a different microphone at the moment, that it said hello on my Sonos bar. So we're going to select continue, saying default language blah blah blah, continue. All right, so it has the chime, which I'm gonna turn chime on so we know when we actually interact with it, and then set as your default music service. Well, it's not letting us do anything else, so we're gonna have to say continue. And then we go to our Alexa app to link the service. Here we go, we can select Amazon Music, and it tells us just ask. So everything should now be linked up. Oh, coming back, because it says, have you done it? We say yes, we've set it up. And then it's play radio, turn volume up, and play pause. And we're gonna select done. And there we have our voice assistant listed at the top. Now I do have a voice assistant right off camera there, but I'm gonna ask the Sonos here if it can do something. So, Alexa, turn on living room lights.
Living room lights isn't responding. Please check its network connection and power supply.
Alexa, turn on kitchen. And it did, okay. So that was integrating Alexa onto your Sonos bar. So not only can you do voice assistants, you have your connected music services right there. We're gonna go back. App preferences, well, this is gonna give you basically what the app looks like and does. So system default dark mode or light mode. You can show notifications, show app shortcut, show on lock screen, which I have turned off. Enable search history, confirm location. You can turn that off if you don't want it to necessarily know where you are. Allow pop-up messages. Home screen controls, I have those disabled. Find My Apps. So that will search your device and show you, hey, these are things that you already have on here. Let me bring them in. You have your support information right here. So if you need any help with your Sonos Arc or the application itself, you can pop right in there. Data and privacy, just like it sounds. Same with legal. All that is kind of self-explanatory. And then you have your inbox, and right here, those messages that I was talking about before. Timing is everything. These are kind of ways to get you to purchase things through the Sonos app itself. So here, like I said, I'm filming this around the holiday shopping season. And then we will come back to the front. And that was a quick look at the Sonos app for the Sonos Arc Soundbar. There you saw, even on Android, there are specific things that you can update and change for the way the Sonos Arc performs. And I will admit, that speech enhancement, I didn't think I would use it as much as I do, but I found it to be a welcomed addition for something like this. Not only does my TV not rattle when I turn the volume up trying to hear something, I just enhance the audio for the speech. I can hear that fine. And explosions and all that still sound really cool because of all the 11 drivers that the Sonos has. But I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, well, what does this guy know? He sounds like a total noob when it comes to sound bars. He's not talking about specifications, mids, lows, highs, all that fun, happy stuff. Well, you're right. That's all technical jargon. And if you're like me and this is your first time looking at a sound bar, you might not know what that technical jargon means. So, best way to test that is with audio. So I use my current best microphone up there in the corner. Depending on the speaker system that you're using to listen to this, you're going to get an example of the audio that comes from the Sonos Arc. First, we'll do a audio from the Sonos Arc in comparison to the TV set back there. So you'll get a 1-to-1 ratio. You can figure out which one sounds better for your own opinion. I'm going to give you a hint. It's the Sonos Arc.
could go get it on my own, so I gotta hit the road. You could say this the life we chose, but I don't wanna do this anymore. I just wanna go. You could say that it's all we know, but I could go get it on my own, so I gotta hit the road. I don't wanna be alone.
Now for myself, like I said, I didn't really do a lot of tests for mid-range, high-range, bass. I'm not an audiophile. That's not really what I'm looking for. I look for more substantial things. How about power usage? Not something you probably thought about. Well, guess what? This thing that you're plugging in is going to be using extra power, and while idling, it's going to use 2.7, meaning just like it is right now, you see me there, TV's off, it's going to use 2.7 watts of power just to be plugged in. If you turn on your voice assistant over there, right now mine is muted so it can't hear me, it uses 0.3 watts of power, so slight increase. Once you turn on your TV or set top, there's my Roku down there, review in the corner, it will jump to 7.6. And again, depending on how loud you start making your volume is how much higher that goes. 7.6 for great audio quality, not terrible, especially if you're going to be using this to replace something like an Amazon Echo because it has that built in, or a Google Home device. So that's built in here. You don't have to have those things on. You can combine your devices into one. Now, some of the oddities that I found with the Sonos bar, being a first-time Sonos and soundbar user, is that if the volume is very low, it will auto-mute itself, which kind of took some getting used to. If you lower the volume while you're watching a commercial, it will auto-mute itself, so you'll have to turn the volume up in order to get it turned back on. If you mute the device, it does take a few seconds to turn itself back on. Again, that is through the optical connection, not through the eARC HDMI connection. Last bit to consider is pricing. If I call this the Apple of soundbars, you know that it's going to have a price tag that goes with that type of moniker. In fact, after I purchased this, they raised the price of this by $100. So right now you're looking at like a $900 soundbar. I will admit, even though they say the Arc is supposed to be for TVs that are greater than 49 inches, you can see my TV is not greater than 49 inches, and it sits in here rather nicely. I will say, again, it is a pricey soundbar, but my friend has had the original Sonos soundbar for well over 7 years now. They do constant firmware updates. They make it last. And for me, that makes me feel a little better about spending this kind of money on something like this. You might think to yourself, all soundbars are created equal, and I hate to say it, they're really not. And if you were going to get one or considering one, or you want to build out your ecosystem, the Sonos Arc is a good soundbar to consider. If you are considering the Arc as a Alex A replacement device, I will leave you with the one caveat of, while you can play and use the soundbar as an Alex A replacement, it cannot be grouped with other Alex A speakers. So if you have a speaker system already set up using the Amazon Home Assistant, you might not want to consider this. Costco has a model that doesn't have the integrated voice assistant and is cheaper. Again, not here to tell you to buy this or not. That's your decision to make. I'm here to give you information. So if there's something that I skipped, or there's something that you'd like me to go back and cover, or you want to tell me about your experiences as